ladies and gentlemen, your mistress of ceremonies. From RFD TV for 12 years, television performer and entertainer, please welcome Penny Gilly.
Welcome, everybody. We are here for the 23rd annual. Oh my goodness, this is unbelievable. The Academy of Western Artists, and to kick this dash off tonight, you know, back in the 60s, folks, they had Sonny and Cher, right? Tonight we got Billy Mata and Cheryl Desiree. So everybody put your hands together. Let's get this thing started. Woo!
Four, 1, 2, 3. How foolish can you be?
The night is young.
To be ruled by jealousy. Could you throw away what we planned? Tell me, girl.
Why don't you ask your heart? Ask it if we should part. I need to tell my heart exactly where we stand.
So let's have a heart-to-heart talk. Let's have an arm-in-arm walk.
My darling, let's try to see eye to eye. And let's have a heart-to-heart talk.
The Salvation Army Orchestra.
We need a bucket. We need a bucket. How foolish can you be to be ruled by jealousy?
I ain't jealous.
Can you throw away what we've planned?
Never, never, never.
Good.
Heart. Ask it if we should part. I need to tell my heart exactly where we stand. So let's have a heart-to-heart talk. Let's have an arm-in-arm walk. My darling,
Let's try to see eye to eye. And let's have a heart-to-heart talk.
oh, and we'll have a heart-to-heart talk. Thank you so much.
Okay, our very first presenter is Joni Harms tonight, and she is an award-winning country and western musician from Oregon. Y'all give it up for Joni. Come on, Joni.
Good evening, everybody. How you doing? Did you enjoy your dinner? Well, something happened to me the last couple of years, and that is when I come up on stage and I have to read something, I need these. Also, I am honored tonight to get to present an award that is very near and dear to my heart, the radio stations and DJs. All right, Skibo Norris. Skibo was born in Plainview and about halfway between Lubbock and Amarillo in the panhandle of Texas. Missing music and sports, Skibo started picking on the oldies. I love it. Well, come on up here, Skibo.
Hey, young lady.
Congratulations, my
Nice
friend.
notes.
You like that? Yeah, here it is.
Oh, well, first of all, what about the feedback that Bobby and TCU put on for us? Woo! You know, who would ever thought, though, that I would make a living behind a microphone? Of course, my mom and some of my teachers would debate that about talking and talking and talking. But this is very, very sweet because this happens to be the second one of these that we've been able to gather here with the Academy of Western Artists. I want to thank Bobby and all the voters. I want to thank our loyal listeners. Bobby said to keep it short and sweet, so that's going to be tough for a guy that talks. But anyway, we want to thank everybody, the musicians. Keep it coming, baby. That's all I got to say, because of what you do is what I love to do, and you profess me to do better. Thank you so much.
The DJ of the Year award to Sean tonight. Come on up. Thank you. Woo-hoo. Good day.
Howdy. Thank you very much,
I'll be
Joni.
more than that.
Absolute pleasure.
Yes, absolutely.
By the way, I want to give a plug to my mate Skibo over there. You all head to sansabaradio.com. You will not hear better country music and western swing anywhere. All right. I told my wife I didn't make any notes, but I did. And you might be interested to know this is the jacket and the shirt that I got married in, so this is a big deal for me. In all seriousness, like I said, this is a very extremely special award for me. You'd be hard-pressed to find a stronger supporter or bigger fan of traditional country and western swing than yours truly. So to be chosen by my peers, this room full of people fighting tooth and nail to keep the heritage of our kind of music alive, I get a lump in my throat. You can probably hear it in my voice. I'd like to thank a few people. Firstly, the artists. The artists, the radio stations, fellow disc jockeys, AWA, the venues, promoters. I wouldn't have nothing to play. I'd be stuck in 1966 playing George Jones, which would be fine, but, we've got to have fresh stuff. So thank you very much for keeping it country, and you keep it up.
Okay. Our next presenter is the head of the Texas Christian University Press, Daniel Williams, who will present the Elmer Kelton Book of the Year Award.
It is an honor to talk about Elmer Kelton, and it's equally an honor to call up the recipient of this year's Elmer Kelton Award, Wayne Ludwig, for his book, This Old Chisholm Trail. Wayne?
Wow. I made a few notes here. Did you ever have one of those moments, what am I doing here? Well, this was my first book, first attempt to do this, first award, and I'm excited to be here. I'd like to thank Clara Holmes. She's the one that got this ball started by inviting me to a Chisholm Trail event back in 2011. Clara, Texas A&M University Press, publishers, the sponsors of the new Ranching Heritage series at Texas A&M Press, Nancy and Ted Paup, right down here. My wife, Marty, friends, family that encouraged me to write the book. I didn't want to write it in the first place, but I was encouraged to do it because I found new information that dates back to the 1870s and 1880s from the actual time of the cattle drives that tells a lot different story than what was told by the old trail drivers 50 years later. And I'd like to thank mentors, Debbie Lyles, Rick Seltzer, and Tom B. Saunders IV, who passed away last year. I wish Tom B. was here to see this. My mom and dad passed away during this project. I hope they're all looking down tonight. And I never intended to write this book. I didn't want to write it. All I wanted to do was find out the real truth about the Chisholm Trail, not all of the tourist information that was being told. So I'm just a guy who got curious, did some research, wrote a book, and here we are. And that rumble that you're probably going to feel before the night's over will be my English teachers turning over in their graves saying, wait, Ludwig did what? Thank you very much. Thanks, Bobby, and thanks to the Academy, and thanks to everybody.
In memory. Rest in peace. Our next performer is a numerous award winner. Y'all welcome Richard Lynch, everybody.
I would like to say a very special thank you. A very special thank you to all the disc jockeys and the folks that's been playing and supporting our music. The song I'm going to perform for you is a song I wrote, and I will tell you it's a true story. It actually happened. I've been writing my songs and telling my stories. I finally got my songs played on the radio. I'd been doing interviews around the country. And then one day a DJ asked me, can I pray with you? He said, do you mind if we pray on the radio? Do you mind we talk about the Lord? I truly believe that God's watching over you. You know, there's no better company than Jesus while you're out on the road. Well, I told the DJ right then I'd be more than happy to share my thoughts and inspirations about my songs. I'm thankful God likes my music enough to ride with me. So if you're hearing my country music, then know that Jesus tags along. Do you mind if we pray on the radio? Do you mind that we talk about the Lord? I truly believe that God's watching over you. You know there's no better company than Jesus while you're out on the road. I know there's no better company than Jesus while we're out on.
Okay, our next presenter is Tom Cartledge of Olson Stelzer Boot Company of Henrietta, Texas. This former Marine, he served 2 tours in Vietnam. And former member of the Texas legislature. He's been in the boot business most of his adult life. Y'all welcome Tom Cartledge, everybody.
I have 3 awards to present tonight. One is for the Bootmaker of the Year, and I'm qualified to do that. But 2 others I'm not qualified to do. One is for the Artist of the Year, Sean Cameron. He will not be here. Maybe that's why they gave me his information. He sent this letter to us. I cannot tell you how honored I feel to have received this year's Artist of the Year award. I deeply regret I cannot personally attend and want to express my gratitude to all of you who have made this event possible. I share your focus to preserve and perpetuate the heritage of the American cowboy, for I am born of such values and traditions. It is for these reasons I paint. I hope others may glimpse this life through my brush and canvas. I revere those who sit in support or who receive an award and congratulate all of you on your efforts and achievement. I am humbled to be among you. Thank you very much for including me in this gathering. The other person we're going to honor is the horsehair hitcher, Donna Murray. And here is her remarks. In many ways, horsehair work was a saving grace for me at a time when I experienced very difficult lifestyle changes. And over the years, this skill has grown to become ever more important to me as it has opened up so many opportunities. I want to acknowledge those who are willing and took time to share their expertise so that folks like myself have the opportunity and resources to learn horsehair hitching. I started with a Gary Stark video and books by Shoney and Ron Malden and Clay Christensen. Special thanks to Shoney and Ron who took the time to answer questions when I would call, and to Clay. Bootmaking is a tough profession. Unfortunately, we're finding fewer and fewer young people wanting to get into this profession because the work is very hard and arduous. So that scares me. But I'm so honored to be here tonight to recognize Dave Wheeler of Houston. And, by the way, Dave has a lot of friends who came up here, so would all of you stand who came up here to show your support for Dave? Come on up here, Dave. Congratulations.
Thank you so much for saying this kind
Well,
words.
it's all true.
Oh, thank you.
It's all true.
Oh, my gosh.
By the way, this guy made boots for all sorts of famous people. He even made Super Bowl boots with all the Super Bowls on the top. But he made the boot for Robert Duvall and Lonesome Dove. And he don't get much higher than that, folks. He is really the real thing.
Thank you. Settle down. This is really, when we got this letter in January of this year, we were just blown away that y'all would accept us for what we do and who we are, because I got to be honest with you, I was born on the blacktop, okay? I haven't seen this many cowboy hats since the last bootmakers roundup in Wichita Falls. So that gives you an idea. But let me start by thanking the Academy and the Hollywood Foreign Press. Oh, I'm glad you got that.
Dave, that is awesome. Congratulations. Woohoo! Hey, Dave, Penny Gilly loves boots. Oh, my goodness. Okay. All right. I'd like to introduce to y'all B.K. Newsman of El Reno, Oklahoma, wagon builder and historian who will present the Garnet Brooks Memorial Chuck Wagon of the Year.
Good evening, folks. I just wonder how many of you remember Garnet Brooks. Let me have your hand. Not anybody? Oh, my word. Garnet and I go back a long ways. I guess that's why I've been... Do what? Okay, we're going to get this right here directly. But anyway, Garnet and I go back a long ways. We traveled together, and he dearly loved the Old West, but everything that he thought about and we talked about while we'd travel would be the chuck wagon. He loved the chuck wagon, and I believe that was his favorite. So this is why we're presenting this award tonight to Garnet. And if you look on your program, if you want more information, it'll be back here. But Garnet, he started out at the Cowboy Hall of Fame, and he was he worked over there for a long time, and I got to know him when he come to my shop one time, and he said he liked the wagon. I fixed my wagons, and he wanted them to be perfect, and he was very instrumental in helping me along. So, like I say, I owe him a lot. But if you don't know him, and I wish you had a chance to meet him, but he liked everything to be dotted and put the T's where they go and all that sort of thing. But he dearly loved the West. And I think I don't think they put it in here, but he started out, an old cowboy gave him a set of spurs, and that started him down the road, and he never forgot that when he got older. So he just ate up with it. But he's in the lifetime books. He's even, if you noticed on the credits, he's in the back of that. So it's just, he's just an all-around cowboy, but he never was a cowboy, but he grew up liking them. I want to thank Bobby and the Brooks family for letting me come and say a few things about Garnet. So this year's Chuck Wagon Award goes to Keith Middleton.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes, sir. They didn't give me the award, so I guess we didn't get pretty. Oh,
I think it's right over here.
Oh, here it is behind.
you.
Watch it; it'll hurt your toe. You'll think you got a skillet on your toe.
Right. Well,
So you want to watch it.
I've handled some iron. It was a little heavier
Yeah,
than
right.
this.
Okay.
But no, I'd like to thank the Academy. This is a real honor for me. I started cooking on this chuck wagon many years ago, and I believe I did know Garnet Brooks. I believe he judged me when I first got started with cooking with a wagon, and he was pretty particular. And I'd like to thank my wife. Mom told me not to forget to thank her.
my dad got me started in this thing, and I really wished he could have lived long enough to see how far that I carried this wagon. I've cooked a lot of years on it, and we've scored some going down the road and all, and it's been a great pleasure. Some of the best people in the world I've ever met were chuck wagon cooks. There's never an unknown stranger, cooking out there, and it's been a real pleasure and honor for me. And thank y'all for this award.
All right. How many here tonight was at the AWA Jam last night? There were several of them going on. Everybody was having a large time. And I was very fortunate to hear this young lady sing tonight. If y'all would, she is an award-nominated, very talented lady, Miss Leslie Tom.
Hi, everybody. So good to be back in Texas. I'm a fifth-generation South Texan, proudly living in Denver, Colorado, where we had the cyclone bomb yesterday or whatever. So glad I was able to get out. So happy to be here. My last record was called Ain't It Something Hank Williams. It's about the life and music of Hank Williams. And so this is one of the tunes that he did that's an old gospel tune. And if you're not a huge Hank Williams fan, you've probably never heard it. It's called Angel of Death. In the great book of John, we're warned of the day when we'll be laid beneath the cold clay. The angel of death will come from the sky and claim your poor soul when the time comes to die. When the angel of death comes down after you, can you smile and you say that you have been true? Can you truthfully say with your dying breath that you're ready to meet the angel of death? When the lights all grow dim and the dark shadows creep and your loved ones have gathered to weep, can you face them and say, hey, with your dying breath, that you're ready to meet the angel of death? When the angel of death comes down after you, can you smile and you say that you have been true? Can you truthfully say with your dying breath that you're ready to meet the angel of death? Thank you.
All right. Our next presenter is a Nashville television personality, and she is also in the Texas Hall of Fame for the disc jockey. Y'all please welcome, here she comes, Jennifer Herron, everybody.
Thank you, sweet Penny. I am so glad to be here. You know, the first time I came out to the AWA, I realized what a family it is, and it is so wonderful to see everybody gather together, swap phone numbers, songwrite together the next year, and just help each other out. We are a great family, and I'm so honored to be a part of this. I'm here to introduce the nominees for a few special awards. One is Pure Country Male. My husband, Bobby Marquez, won that last year. It was an amazing honor for him, so good luck to all the nominees. Will Bannister, Chuck Cusimano, Steve Griggs, Richard Lynch, and Scott Southworth. Anybody want to do a drum roll for me? Here we go. Rip this baby open. And our winner is Richard Lynch. Come on up here, Richard.
Well, first of all, I want to say a very special thank you to everybody at the Academy especially. There's such a need for traditional country music in this world. I know I'm not telling you folks anything, but all those artists that keep hammering away and playing their songs, I'm thankful that I can be part of them. I want to say a very special thank you to my wife, because she believed in me for all these years, and without her, I wouldn't be doing anything. So God bless you all, and thank you to the Academy. We'll see you next time.
And the winner in this category, Western Music Album of the Year for the AWA, Joni Harms, Lucky 13. This has been a big album for Joni, I know. On country and Western albums, and I know she's been hitting it hard over in the UK and around the States, so y'all welcome Joni.
Thank you, Jennifer. Wow, and thank you everybody here tonight. This album was a very special one for me to put together, very near and dear to my heart. I think a lot of you know that my daughter was born on June 13th in room 13 at 113. My dad was released from World War II on Dock 13 on November 13th, and 13 is a very special number for me. But I really worked hard on putting this collection of songs together, and I know that each of them are not solely Western, but you guys embrace them and listen to them, and I just had so much fun talking with you guys on the radio about the album and the stories behind it. And I'm just very, very blessed to be part of this Academy and part of this whole group of people here tonight. I love you all, and you've all been so good to me through the years. I want to thank Vernell Hackett and Jennifer Herron for helping me promote this album. Also, Deborah Evans-Price is out there tonight, helped me get the article in Women's World magazine. Vera is here tonight, who has made a lot of my clothing. And I mean, I could go on and on and on. Bobby Newton, who is, we were just talking, has been a friend of mine for 20 years. You guys are an amazing group of people. Don't ever doubt that. Don't ever think that our music is not worthy, because it really, really is. And we just hope that we continue to get out there and support anybody that is trying to get into this Western side of music, whether it be poetry, music, saddle making, anything. Let's just work really hard to keep this alive, because it is such a beautiful part of America, and we can't let it go away. Thank you so very much. I love y'all.
Western Swing female nominees this year: Susie Blue, Cheryl Desiree, Carolyn Martin, Taryn Noel, and Lily Robert. And our winner is... I'm not that good at ripping these things open. It takes me a little bit here. But hey, the wait was worth it. Taryn Noel. Did Taryn make it in? All right, we have somebody speaking for Taryn. A lot of folks were unable to be here this year. The weather has played a huge factor. A lot of flight delays folks have been through, and unfortunately, a lot of folks just couldn't make it at all. So for Taryn Noel, we have someone to accept the award. Come on down, come on down. Yeah, there you go. We're expecting somebody in a dress, but you'll do fine, sir.
Afterwards. I want to tell you that I'm so honored to, excuse me, Taryn is on her way here, and God, she landed at Dallas-Fort Worth at 6:30, and so she's on her way. And Thank you.
All right, our next award is for Pure Country Song, if you're following along in the program. A lot of great songs to choose from this year. Tia Goins was nominated for A Way to Survive, Dennis Ledbetter, JD's My Whiskey, Not My Name. Leslie Tom, Dean Miller, Are You Ready for Some Hanky Panky? Lonnie Spiker, The First to Say Goodbye, and Bobby Marquez and Rhonda Vincent, For a While. And the winner for the Pure Country Song of the Year, Bobby Marquez and Rhonda Vincent, For a While. Oh my gosh. This song was considered for a Grammy Award as well, so I know a really big song for Bobby Marquez. Hey, come on up here, Bobby. Unfortunately, Rhonda Vincent is not here tonight, the Queen of Bluegrass, but I tell you what, even though she's the Queen of Bluegrass, that lady can sing a country music song, so.
Boy, this is crazy. My gosh. First, I wanted to thank the Academy. I want to thank Bobby Newton, Dina Wood, Billy Bowles, and all the DJs out there and all the radio stations that play our music all the time. And I do want to thank Rhonda Vincent because she's actually the one that made this song. She really did. Her voice is just fantastic. And I wrote this song, gosh, about almost 18 years ago, folks. I wrote this song. And when I first moved to Nashville, it was one of the first songs that I got to write with. And I wrote the song with Memory Gale, who's a fantastic songwriter in Nashville. And I was looking for a song to put on this new album to sing a duet with somebody on it. And the first person that came in mind was Rhonda Vincent. And well, back in 2004, I believe it was, 2003 was when I started pitching this song. And Tim McGraw and Faith Hill had it for a very, very long time. And they ended up not doing anything with it. And here we go, gosh, almost 18 years later. And we ended up putting this on the new album. And I just want to thank everybody so much. Thank you, radio stations, very, very much. I appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
All right. At this time, I'd like to bring Brady Bowen and Albert Talley to the stage to present this evening's the Lifetime Achievement Award to Miss Barbara Martin.
Barbara, is she not a sweetheart? Let's give her one. She's been there for all of us, over and over and over, time and time again. Albert?
What an honor it is to be up here to recognize one of the greatest women I've ever met in my life. Done so much for all of us through the music business and everything. You know, born in California, we won't hold that against her, and listened to rock and roll music. Can you believe that? Barbara Martin listening to rock and roll music. I can't do that. Anyway, they said that Barbara had been working and got bored on the job she had. I can't believe Barbara being bored. It's like the Energizer Rabbit. Barbara Martin is, you know. Anyway, about 1993, someone gave her a copy of Asleep at the Wheel, a tribute to Bob Wills' album. She fell in love with Western swing music. Now, Barbara had had some music theory in college, so she had some idea about what was going on and all that good stuff like that. She came to Ruidoso, and she met Leon Roush and Vonda, Bobby Kofer, Curly Lewis, Dave Alexander, and they kind of convinced her that she should think about doing this Western swing news. I don't know how in the world, if any of you have ever tried to write an article, that's the hardest thing in the world to do that every month, in and out. But anyway, she, in November of 1998, she finally did her first one, encouraged by Larry Scott and our good friend Michael Daniels to keep this thing going. And she's done so much, you know, through our Steel Guitar Association. She's nearly every issue she's had a picture of a steel guitar player in an article. And Barbara, I thank you so much for that. But the Western swing thing is the music that I love and we all love. That's why we're here. I said, at my funeral, I want Western swing music played at my funeral. I don't know how you guys all feel, but that's the way I do. But anyway, what else can you say about a sweet lady like her, as much as she's done for each one of us in this house? But anyway, at this point in time, I would like for each of you to stand, and let's give a big round of applause to the Lifetime Achievement Award, Miss Barbara Martin.
Oh, thank you so much. I had a lot to tell you tonight, but I decided that I could say it in a whole lot fewer words. So yeah, 2 minutes. So I'll just say that I'm pleased that you found entertainment and knowledge in the Western Swing Monthly magazine. And especially thank you for coming out tonight, because coming out to Western Swing shows is what's going to keep the music going. And that was the purpose of the magazine, was to inform everyone where the dances were so you could come out and support it. My idols and heroes became my mentors and close friends. This is a pendant that Cindy Walker made. Yeah, the blessings that I've received from Western Swing music are more than I could ever give back. I had so many other heroes too. Johnny Gimbel and Dean Moore, Herbie, Larry Scott, Jesse Morris, Harry Kaufman, and Bob Cobb, Dana. They lit the path for me and showed me the way. Most of all, I've chased my dreams, and I've made friends with the most remarkable people. Thank you for riding this happy trail of life with me, and to Bobby Newton and everyone at AWA. Thank you so much for this special honor. It's a big deal, and it means a lot to me. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, darling.
Okay, our next presenter, Wayne Mitchell, Western collector and Texas rancher. Wayne has been to every show since 1996, since the AWA started back in 96. Born and raised in West Texas, Wayne has born and been around cattle, ranches, and horses most of his life. Folks, this is what a real cowboy looks like. Y'all give a big round of applause for Wayne. Where are you, Wayne? There you go.
I gotta find where I am here. You know, the good Lord above shows his sense of humor in various ways. Some of us get endowed with a little more than others. And I think that the ones that he eventually lets be cartoonists may be endowed with the greatest amount of that humor. Crazy Annie, I think that's what they call her. From down in southeast Utah. Oh, they say she was endowed with more of that humor, because I think she's a pistolier. Found her husband, I think, at the end of the barrel of her pistol, and she might catch a heel if you turn the wrong direction. She does some cartoon work too, and I don't know why they call her Crazy Annie, but this year's cartoonist, Kristen Lloyd, from down in southeast Utah.
Thank you. It means a lot to be able to get a Will Rogers Award for my cowboy cartoons. And thank you guys so much for giving me this opportunity, to all of you. I don't know how it all works, honestly, because I did not know that this wonderful organization existed until I got my envelope in the mail and it said, "Congratulations, you're the Cowboy Cartoonist of the Year." And I'm like, I think they got the wrong train robber. Well, thank you. But yes, a huge thank you to all of you who liked my cartoons, and thank you to my peers, and to Jim Lisk, he was the cartoonist last year, and a great friend of his, and he's just awesome. And so, yeah, thank you to all of you. Thank you to my family and to my pet cow, Honeybee, who you've been seeing me riding over there, by the way. She was my best friend when I didn't have one growing up, and so that's why we get to be in cartoons together all the time. So anyway, thank you guys so much. You are wonderful, and I'll hopefully see you guys around.
I'm fortunate enough to recognize more talent. Matt Litz is our engraver of the year. All right. You can talk to him if you want to.
I'll do a little bit. I'm a man of very few words, and unless we're out in the public and we want to stand around, we're trying to go. But I'll talk to a fence post till he's blue in the face. But I'd like to thank Domingo for nominating me this year. He's a good friend of mine. Most of y'all probably know him. He's just like me, and he'll gab a little bit. But thank you to the AWA, Bobby, everybody for this. It's an honor. Thank y'all.
And I continue to be able to brag on some talented folks. Spur Maker of the Year, been working on things like that for 30 plus. He came by it naturally too. Daddy was working in the metal. Daddy also made a spur or two for some kinfolks. And I guess it just comes naturally, but when you go off to school and then come back with a degree and start helping Daddy again, and somebody says, I got a spurs broke, and he fixed it, and then that led one thing to another. Can you go ahead and make me a new pair? And 30 some odd years later, after Miss Sally helped him for a while, Vilma Dole, our Spur Maker of the Year.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Gosh, I cannot say thank you enough to the Academy for honoring me with such a wonderful award. Thank you. I'm extremely humbled by and very appreciative of your recognition. This is such an award. I'm so proud. I so wish my late wife, Sally, could be here tonight. She would be so happy. For 20 years of my spur making life, Sally and I worked together every day in the shop, side by side. And it was her many skills and very strong work ethic that kept our little operation moving forward. And we thank you very, very much.
Our next presenter is Jim Linnell. He has been an active leather craftsman for close to 50 years, spending over 36 years working within the leather industry, considered by many as the master leather workers of our day. Jim's work has appeared in museums and galleries and on covers of numerous catalogs and magazines. A native of Montana, Jim now resides in Fort Worth, Texas. Jim Linnell.
Well, it's my privilege and honor tonight to recognize some of the people that add some texture and color to our Western lifestyle. What would the Western lifestyle be without leather workers? It would be a lot tamer, I guess. And I get the privilege this evening to recognize some of my heroes, and that's also a real privilege. Before I get, our first one is the master leather artisan, is Tony Lair. But while he makes his way up here, I want to tell you a little bit about how he got here. He's been working with leather since high school, and he took a little short stint in college, but then another that went and chose to serve our country in Vietnam, and so we want to thank him for that service as well. But he did spend, about 40 years with Tandy Leather? Something like that. And the work that he did there, well, he kind of did everything. He worked as a manager, he worked part-time, he worked in advertising, but his main job that he spent most of his life at there was working as the director of R&D. And because of this fella, probably hundreds of thousands of people around the world have been introduced to leatherworking because of his efforts. And it is just a real privilege to bring him up here and see him get this award. He continues in his retirement, being very active, continuing to do that. He serves on the Ann and Al Stolman Award or Foundation and makes sure that those that need to be recognized for their contributions to this craft continue to get that recognition. So it is a privilege and an honor to present this to Tony Lair.
Thank you, Jim, and my thanks to the Academy for this great and very unexpected honor. I'd also like to thank Ann and Al Stolman. I think I wouldn't have chosen a career in leatherworking if I hadn't seen through their art what was possible, and that's one of the main reasons I pursued it. Plus the albums didn't sell when I was in the band. So most of all, I'd like to thank my wife, Kay. We met at Tandy, that's not Radio Shack. We met at Tandy, gosh, it was 33 years ago, over 33 years ago. We've been a team ever since. And I really can't imagine this life without her. So, Kay, thank you. And thank you, Willie. And thank you, Jim.
Our next category is the braider. And let me tell you a little bit about Brett Haskett. Native American, born and raised in the Shoshone-Bannock Reservation in Pocatello, Idaho. Brett was a self-taught rawhide braider. He kind of started out repairing and making cowboy gear in his spare time, but he learned some braiding techniques from fellow braiders, including people like Dale Harwood. And, trial and error was a lot of his teacher. And from his shop today, he continues to conduct workshops. He shares his knowledge with braiders whenever they wish to stop by, seeking to continue to improve their skills. And he's not here tonight, but I believe accepting that award on his behalf is Domenico Hernandez.
It's my privilege to receive the award on behalf of Brett Haskett. He couldn't travel to the great Republic of Texas. He's stuck in Idaho, freezing himself over there tonight. But I'll send him the pictures. And what happened is that Brett started a long time ago as a hobbyist rawhide braider. Over the years, he developed into a passion. And nowadays, he does a lot of gear for the working cowboys that they're willing to wait a year, sometimes up to 2 years to get their gear that they request from Brett. So it's a big honor for him to be recognized. Thank you on behalf of Brett.
Our saddle maker of the year was born in Winnemucca, Nevada, and is still there. He has been married to his sweet wife, Kathy, for 41 years. He attended the University of Nevada. His shop there is called Tips Western Wear and Custom Saddles, and it's been there again for 40 years. One of the things I'd like to mention is that when he was about 4 or 5 years old, his father was recovering from knee surgery and bought himself a Tandy leather tooling kit. Many of us started that way. But his dad didn't take to it, but Ken did, and we're thankful for that. Among his accomplishments, he built a saddle for the Smithsonian Institute, giving demonstrations on site with that. His stuff is seen, and he shows his gear at the different events like the Trappings of the American West, the Western Art Roundup, the Elko Cowboy Poetry, and other events like that. But here's a quote he had in his biography, and I think it's pretty awesome. He said, "I do not believe in keeping secrets from other aspiring saddle makers or even other master saddlers, as I believe the more we share, the more we learn. I hope to have many more years in the custom saddle business, and to that I would say we do too, Ken." So please welcome Ken Tipton, Saddle Maker of the Year.
Thank you all very much. Thanks to the Academy. I really appreciate that. And thank you, Bobby. I was certainly surprised when I got the letter. And I look back over the years of people that were a big influence in my career, and one of them had spent some time here in Fort Worth. And while I was at Capriola's, there was a saddle maker by the name of Chip Druce. And Chip taught me a lot about how to design, how to draw. I remember the first time I went to work at Capriola's, they gave me a wallet order to make, and I said, "Well, where's your patterns?" And they said, "We don't use patterns. You just draw it on." And I didn't know what to do. And Chip could see I was nervous, and he came over and gave me a little bit of schooling. I made a wallet. I'm glad that I don't know where it is today. We got through it. And I also would like to thank many of the famous saddle makers that have gone on and passed on. When I was young, I'd get a saddle in and I'd do the repair on it, and I would pick pieces and parts of that saddle that I really thought were unique or really well done, and I'd figure out how they did that. And that's been a big help to me, and I always encourage people, young people that are in the business, to not shy away from doing repair work, because you can learn a tremendous amount by those people that have done things before us. Also want to thank two gentlemen that have worked for me side by side with me. I consider them brothers, Manuel Mercado and Angel Mercado. They've worked for me for over 30 years. Thank you. And we continually push each other and learn from each other. And I also would like, very important in my life is my wife, Kathy Tipton, and I would like to thank her. She gave up her dreams of what she wanted to do to hang with me and be in the business that we're in. And I really look forward to the next 10 to 15 years of my life. You won't see me if you come by the store anymore, because I'm going to be spending full time in the saddle shop in my semi-retirement. So thank you very much. Thank you, Bobby. Thank you, the Academy. And thank you, Kathy.
I get to present the Don King Memorial Saddle Maker Award. Let me tell you a little bit about Don King. He was a saddle maker in Sheridan, Wyoming, but he had a life that was dedicated to, I guess, taking saddle making to a higher level. He did an incredible job of passing his knowledge on and encouraging anybody who would bother to come by and ask for it. He developed a type of leather carving that is copied by many around the world and has kind of a life of its own, Sheridan style carving they call it, and he's kind of known as the creator of that and father of that. And his work, well, it's probably more of it is on display in museums and in galleries than probably is used, although he made gear for old people like the Queen of England and, you know, folks like that. A deep honor to, again, recognize another one of those, my heroes, Pete Gorell.
You know, as I think back over the, excuse me, I'm kind of emotional. As I think back over the people, most of whom I know, that have won this award, it becomes a great honor, a very humbling honor. And there are so many people that have led me to this that I have to say thank you to. Of course, my family and my wife, who's put up with my shenanigans for the last 62 years. And so I know that, and I know also that without the perseverance and the dedication that Bobby Newton has shown, we would not have this academy today. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much. What a treat to get to sing for you tonight. I didn't know I was going to get to do this. But did you all enjoy your meal tonight? It was very good, wasn't it? Well, you know, I come from a long line of farmers and ranchers. And so I just like to remind people when I have the opportunity to get up and sing in front of them that, you know, that food didn't just come from the grocery store. It came from hardworking folks out there that get up at the crack of dawn and work till the very end of the day, and sometimes all hours of the night. And my family is some of them, and I know that we've got a lot of ranchers out here tonight that can relate to that same thing. So I wrote a song for my new Lucky 13 album. It's the first cut on there, and I'd like to do that for you tonight. It's called God Bless the Farmer. God bless the farmers, working 7 days a week. Lord knows without 'em we wouldn't eat. The world's on their shoulders, still proudly they stand. God bless the farmers of this land. They're already working when you start your day, planting crops and feeding stock so you can fill your plate. They're out there on a tractor through rain and the sun, putting in an honest day of work that's never done. God bless the farmers, working 7 days a week. Lord knows without 'em we wouldn't eat. The world's on their shoulders, still proudly they stand. God bless the farmers of this land, yeah. For many generations, they've proudly worked the land. They know their job's important, and they do all that they can. So when you gather around your table and you bow your heads to pray, when you're counting all your blessings, don't forget to say, God bless the farmers, working 7 days a week. Lord knows without 'em we wouldn't eat. The world's on their shoulders, still proudly they stand. God bless the farmers of this land. Oh, God bless the farmers, working 7 days a week. Lord knows without 'em we wouldn't eat. The world's on their shoulders, still proudly they stand. God bless the farmers of this land. Oh, God bless the farmers of this land.
Joni Harms, amen to that about the farmers. Oh, wow. Our next presenter is the Disc Jockey of the Year. He's from the land of Down Under. Throw a shrimp on the Barbie. It's Western Red, a.k.a. Sean Hickey, everybody.
G'day, folks. I saw that on her notes, and I have to correct something. I've never thrown a shrimp on the barbie, despite what you might see at Outback Steakhouse, and we call them prawns, but that's another story. Good to be back up here. I've got the distinct honour of presenting a few more music categories this evening, and we're going to start with the Western Swing Duo and Group of the Year. All right, the nominees are Brady Bowen and Swing Country, the Light Crust Doughboys, Susie Blue and the Lonesome Fellas, Rick and the All-Star Ramblers, and Billy Marta and the Texas Tradition. Some strong competition. The winner is Billy Marta and the Texas Tradition. There he is.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Well done, my friend.
Well, thank you so much. I'm honored that to be named with all the other nominees and to see a lot of my friends and heroes out here, especially Mr. Rex Allen Jr., one of my favorite vocalists of all time. God bless you, sir. I wish I could go on, but I know I've only got 2 minutes or something. Barbara Martin, I love you very much. Thank you. You're a big part of this. Thank you very much. God bless.
I can vouch. I've danced to him several times. There's hardly a finer Western swing outfit than Billy Marta and the Texas Tradition. We move on to the Western Music Song of the Year. The nominees are Ron Christopher with Line in the Sand, Joni Harms, we just heard her dulcet tones up here, with Horse Sense, Tony Messerly, Riding by the Light of the Moon, Dawn Anita Plumley, Down on Wild Horse Creek, and Rich Price, who is a Cowboy's Cowboy. And the winner, he'll be happy about this, Ron Christopher, Line in the Sand. Come on up.
Thank you so much. I came here 2 years ago for the first time, and I won the album, and I was not even paying attention because I didn't think I would win. I really didn't think I'd win tonight either, but I'm really honored to be here. I want to thank the Academy. I want to thank Bobby Newton. I want to thank the DJs, not only for their votes, but throughout the year I get a lot of input as I send songs to the DJs, and I talk with them about how to write and what I'm writing, and I listen to what they're telling me, and so I appreciate all that. I know it takes time. I'm also very honored to be up here with so many people that are deserving of this award. It was a great field of performers tonight, and every one of them is deserving of this award. So thank you so much for allowing me to run with the big dogs. And I'll see you next year. Thank you very much.
All right, we move on to a very strong category indeed, Pure Country Album. And the nominees are Tim Atwood, Livin' the Dream, Chuck Cusimano, The Collection #2, Teresa Farris, Self-Titled, Bobby Marquez, The Cowboy Way, and Scott Southworth from Nashville, Tennessee, Hey Hillbilly Singer. That's what I thought, Scott Southworth, Hey Hillbilly Singer. Now Scott can't be here tonight, but representing him for the last 12 months at least is the lovely Jennifer Hare, and she will take the stage now.
What a great surprise. You know, Scott Southworth had a radio show in WSM. That's how I first met him. And we became friends, and he said, you know, I'm also a singer-songwriter. And I said, I had no idea. He started sharing his amazing songs with me, and I was blown away. So for the past year, like Sean said, I have been calling people and saying, hey, have you heard this guy? Would you play his music? You've got to give it a listen. And pushing his songs and his music, and you've been so kind and generous to him. He's been selling out all kinds of shows overseas in Europe. He did send me a note he wanted me to read. I'm trying to find it right now. I'm so nervous. I'm so proud for him. He is such a great guy, and he is so into the AWA. He could not be here, unfortunately, at the last minute, but he said he will be here every year after, whether he's nominated or not. And again, he wants to thank all of the DJs who took a risk on a guy that is in his 50s that is still trying to pursue a dream. His family moved 3,000 miles to Nashville so he could pursue this dream, and you have made this dream a reality for him. I don't know if you realize how much your kindness means when you take a chance on somebody and put their song on the radio, something that came from their heart and soul and what they dreamed of. But this is what you do for somebody. So I'm going to tell you, he's going to cry when I let him know about this. Thank you for Scott Southworth from the bottom of his heart. Thank you.
All right, we're back on track, I think. All right, Western Swing Song. It matches the envelope in my hand. That's a good sign, right? All right, the nominees for Western Swing Song of the Year are Chuck Cusimano, My Heart is Back in Texas. Carolyn Martin, You Can't Take Texas Out of the Girl. Tara Noel, Swing on the Range. Steel Horse Swing with Swing Time Baby. And Don Walker with Barnyard Swing. And the winner of Western Swing Song of the Year goes to Steel Horse Swing for Swing Time Baby. Now, I know for a fact that the man who's responsible for Steel Horse Swing is right over there. There you go. Cool. Happy coincidence. Good deal.
I know Carlos and Miranda are back in Colorado. They would have been here, but they have no power and the airplanes are not flying. So he asked me if you happen to award him, if I would accept that for him. He wanted to thank the Academy and for all your support for the DJs, and he also wanted to thank the Lord above. So Carlos and Miranda, thank you for this.
I guess not everywhere can have Fort Worth weather, hey? All right, and my final input for this evening. Don't have much of a song in our kind of music without the instruments, unless you go a cappella, of course. So the instrumentalist category of the year. The nominees are Rory Hoffman, Hiram Posey, Rose Sinclair, Hank Singer, and Joe Spivey. And the winner is Hiram Posey.
Well, this is a surprise. Thank you all very much. I want to thank the AWA, my wife Lori, and the man upstairs that gave me this great gift of the playing. I've loved music ever since I was a kid. Thank you very much.
Okay. Our next performer is Ron Christopher, who comes from us all the way from California, where he has been entertaining folks for many years with his special style of music. Ron Christopher.
Might as well do the song I won for, huh? Didn't make up my mind about that till I walked up here. The Indian fighter got famous, even served in the Congress a spell. Lost the election, headed for Texas. He said, my friends, you may all go to hell. Jackson was expanding the borders, his eyes on the prized piece of land. He sent Houston to gather an army, and them boys drew a line in the sand. The Mexican army was marching north from the old Rio Grande, put down the Texas rebellion, conquer and reclaim the land. General Houston gave Travis his orders. The Alamo would be his command, and the colonel, without hesitation, with his sword drew a line in the sand. At the mission San Antonio de Bell, the Tejanos and Texians did stand against the Mexican General Santana. They would all give their lives to a man. Those Mexicans played the degüello, At dawn when the sun struck the line, Travis, Crockett, and Bowie held the line that they drew in the sand. Outnumbered by 20 to 1, with no reinforcements in sight. No mercy they knew would be shown. This battle would be their last fight. An army of 5,000 strong stormed the walls where 200 men would go down in history that day, refusing to yield or to bend. Regarded as rebels, not soldiers, no quarter was given to them. Their bodies dragged and then burned on that line that they drew in the sand. The Alamo actually fell 4 days after the Republic had been declared. The news never reached San Antonio, and they died for the cause unaware. Houston's army 6 long weeks later, outnumbered and fleeing the field, heard him cry, "Remember the Alamo," and they rallied and this time prevailed. Santa Anna would beg for his life when defeated by old General Sam at the Battle of San Jacinto, where them boys drew a line in the sand. For 13 days of glory, they held and defended her walls. To this day they still tell the story of the Alamo and her fall. But the Lone Star State had emerged independent because of their stand. It's called the Republic of Texas, where them boys drew a line in the sand. And today we call that state Texas, where them boys drew a line in the sand. Made it. Thank you very much, Texas.
Our next presenter is disc jockey Alan Reynolds, who listened to all-night trucking radio shows, The Road Gang at WWL, and Bill Mack's Midnight Cowboy. It just wasn't the music, but it was the stories about the songs and the artists that made a real impression on him. More than 30 years later, after coming off the road, he was asked by a local radio station to share his collection. That led to 2 regular scheduled shows, as well as WIOX 91.3 FM in Roxbury, New York. Please welcome Alan Reynolds.
This has been a very humbling week for a farm boy. And I just got to thinking that by being here this evening, I'm going to miss 2 shows. That's 2 opportunities to play some of the world's finest music. But by being here together this evening, we are right in the middle of some of the world's finest music. And I'll take that trade any day. Let's see if we can make this evening even more special for a few folks. Western Music Female. Nominees are Dawn Anita, Devin Dawson, Joni Harms, Kristen Harris, and Mary Kay. Oh my. Dawn Anita.
Well, I tell you what, I know that for a lot of you who don't know me, or do know me, I'm so nervous I can't even talk. And I know that this is unusual because most people who know me know that they can't keep me from talking. So this is quite an honor, and I really would like to thank, of course, the Academy and all of the DJs that I've had the honor of talking with. And I can't believe that this time in my life, I've been in music since, well, for about 50 years. And this time of my life, this is happening to me. And there is so many wonderful artists, and I am just in awe of how much talent that we have. And it is unbelievable that it is me that's holding this award. And I want to thank all of you very much. And I really, there's a fella that's pretty important in my life. And he's hauled me around all these years to all these shows that I've performed at. I started out in country music, and as I said today, you know, there's the category of pure country, which of course I am. I'm lived on a farm and a ranch all my life. And then there's the Western category, which I'm qualified for, I think, because here it is. And then there's Western swing, and I love Western swing since I sang with the Texas Playboys for about 5 years. So this is truly an honor, and I would like to thank my husband, Jerry Plumley, for all of his support. I've only been with him going on 61 years. Thank y'all so much.
Western Swing album. Cheryl Desiree for Dreaming. Oh, that's Dreamy, not Dreaming. I should get a job on the radio. Carolyn Martin, Wild West Texas Wind. Rick and the All-Star Ramblers. Taryn Noel is the one that was doing the singing on Taryn Noel Swings. Lily Robert with Swing Set. Billy Mata with the Texas Tradition. This is Tommy Duncan, number 3. You know who this is? Let's find out. Lily Robert, Swing Set.
It's real heavy. Thank you so much. Wow. I want to tell you that the lineup of people who I was with are all of my heroes. Carolyn Martin, where are you? I've been looking for you all night. Solitaire Miles, Susie Blue. One cannot do this without having an amazing team of people. My producer, Marvin Odell, who couldn't be here tonight, and co-producer, Tom Boyer. The musicians were all top-notch. I was just in awe at every moment. I'm not kidding you. I was the vocalist, and I supposedly put it all together, but I can tell you that it was the team that made this a cut above anything I've ever done, and what fun it was. My husband, Rick Flory, is my supporter and my soulmate, and he's enjoying this award. But as we all know, this doesn't happen with just one person, and I want to just finish by saying thank you to the Academy, thank you to Bobby Newton, and to God be the glory. Thank you so much.
Well, what's coming up next here? Young artist, Emily George, Haley Nixon, Abby Payne, Jack Phillips, Lee Sawyer. Here you are. Thank you. Wow. Haley Nixon.
Accepting this on behalf of Haley, it is so important to keep supporting these youngsters so it can go on and go on. Thank you from Haley.
Pure Country Duo Group, Steve Griggs Band, Richard Lynch Band, Hay Bale, Jeff Woolsey and the Dance Hall Kings, Chuck Cusimano, and D.G. Overby. Chuck Cusimano and D.G. Overby.
Yes, we share it. How about a big hand for my partner on this song? And she put it on her album, and if you don't have it, shame on you, you need to buy it. D.G. Overby has sang backup for Connie Smith and been on records with people. And finally, she gets to sing the lead part on a lot of stuff. Thanks to you. When I wrote this song many years ago, well, 10, 15 years ago, I wasn't thinking about, I knew it was a duet, but I wasn't thinking about who I would ever record it with or who would record it. And I sent it to some people, and they really liked it, but they forgot to do it. That's what they told me. They said, we spaced it out. And so I'm cutting a lot of stuff at the studio right now in the last couple of years. And I was looking for a duet partner, and I thought of D.G. I'm so glad you did. Thank you so much, Chuck. She sings wonderful. Thank you so much. Oh, wow. You say something.
First of all, it's just an honor to be here with all you wonderful, talented people, and I thank the AWA. This is such an honor. I got to thank all the disc jockeys that played the song, Billy Bowles. And yes, and yes.
Amen.
Amen, that's right. And my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ for the gifts he's given me. And for Mr. Cusimano in the first place. Thank you so much. It's an honor.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, for your listening pleasure, Penny Gillis.
Jesse, come here.
What?
What did you say?
Listening pleasure. Penny Gilly.
I love this man. I don't feel so bad now. Thanks, Jesse. I hear the same old thing every morning when you wake up. Hey, sugar, won't you bring me some coffee in my favorite cup? But this morning it's gonna be different than it's been before. Yeah, your coffee's on the table, but your sugar's walking out the door. Yeah, you'll find out I'm not running a Maxwell house. Woo! You can fill your own rim to the brim, or you can do without. It's been brewing inside me, and I can't take anymore. Your coffee's on the table, but your sugar's walking out the door. Come on, Texas! No, you don't believe me, but you better get it through your head. Well, I've had my fill of serving you breakfast in bed. It used to be exciting, but you turned it into a chore. And now your coffee's on the table, but your sugar's walking out the door. Yeah, you'll find out I'm not running a Maxwell house. You can fill your own rim to the brim, or you can do without. It's been brewing inside me, and I can't take anymore. Your coffee's on the table, but your sugar's walking out the door. Oh, play it, band. They're not making any mistakes tonight. It's been brewing inside me and I can't take anymore. Your coffee's on the table, but your sugar's walking out the door. Your coffee's on the table, but your sugar's walking out the door. Oh, so long, honey. See you, baby. I'm out of here. Thank you. That's including equal and sweet and low, too, guys. You don't behave yourselves. Y'all know what happens. Our next presenter, Miss Deborah Evans Price, the editor of Nashville Billboard magazine.
Oh, I love that song. That was a great hook line. Did you write that, Penny?
No, a friend of mine did.
Oh, honey, you deliver it beautifully. That was fun. Thank you. I am so excited about being here tonight, and I want to say a big thank you to Bobby Newton and his lovely wife, Betty, for inviting me back down again this year. It's my birthday, and I tell you, I can't think of a better place to spend it. Without further ado, I just want to say that our next category, Western Swing Male Vocalist of the Year, and, this is a strong category, folks, I tell you. Gary Ash, Doug Boggs, Billy Mata, Rich Norcross, Carlos Washington. I think all winners in my book, but we just have one, so that's Doug Boggs. Yay!
Wow. First off, to the Academy, thank you so much. The DJs that play our music, thank you for getting the word out to everybody.
Our next award tonight is going to Pure Country Female. And in this category, we've got Lorraine Chavana, Tara Dunphy, Tia Goins, Lisa Lane, Leslie Tom, and the winner. Thank you. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, can we have a big hand for these beautiful girls that have been up here working so hard tonight? Are they not just lovely? Thank you. And the winner is Leslie Tom.
Somebody said a minute ago, is this really happening? And I'm definitely feeling like, is this really happening? Hormones. After 40, they're such a bitch, you know? And I'm 42, so I may never win another award, so I'll hope you oblige me just a couple of minutes to say my proper thank yous. I want to start out by saying thank you to the Academy, to all of the amazing DJs across the skate country and the world that support independent artists working hard to keep Pure Country alive.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're down to the final award of the evening. This is for Western Music Male, and the nominees are Rex Allen Jr., Bob Corley, Doug Figgs, Bob Marshall, Barry Ward. And the winner is Barry Ward.
I'm sitting over here going, I'm not going to win it, so I don't know what to say, except that the group of guys that I was mentioned with are tremendous, tremendous people, entertainers, and it's very humbling for me. This all started for me back when, a little farm boy in western Kansas, when my dad, we might be working a potload of calves, or we might be laying out irrigation pipe, and he's singing When the Work's All Done This Fall. Every single verse. for 10 stinking years. The same song. But he instilled in me the love of Western music, and the songwriting has been a huge blessing to me. And I want to thank my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ for, otherwise I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing. Thank you. And Miss Victoria, my beautiful wife of 36 years, who without her, I wouldn't be doing this today. And I love you, babe. Thank you.
Wow. In my opinion, it has been an amazing 23rd annual AWA Awards, and we want to thank each and every one of you for being here tonight. Those that have participated and they have worked really hard. We thank you, Bobby and his lovely wife. We thank you, Dina and Billy Bowles, and everybody that was really, really supportive, and what a great, great event. And thank all you youngsters for keeping it country and carrying it forward. And just remember, folks, there's two things in life you can give someone that's very precious. Number one is your love, and we can't ever get enough of that. And number two is your time. And tonight, y'all have truly given us a piece of your life. Thank you so much. God bless y'all for being here. Don't forget to go by and get your picture made with Will outside and take that home. And we'll see everybody next year. God bless and good night and safe travels home.